Crypto Kids, welcome back to another video. Today, I have an incredible friend of mine, Fefe, who's also a very, very cool analyst. He actually predicted the bull market coming to an end. On this channel, we've been saying that the price of Bitcoin, if it drops below the 50 simple moving average, sadly, it's not going to look good. Fefe also predicted that the bull market would be over on October the 17th. He actually got a lot of backlash for this tweet, specifically from Ran. But there was a huge debate and he won. And I just wanted to bring Fefe on to tell us what he thinks will happen next in the markets. And I'm very excited to have you on, bro. How are you doing?
Yeah, brother. Hey, how are you? Good, good, good. Yeah, it's been a lot of backlash. It's funny you brought up Brand. Yeah, it's been a lot of backlash and debate and whatnot. But we'll see how the market continues. But so far it's looking like that it's coming to fruition. What I've been saying on October 17th.
Well, I want to just hand the mic over to you. If you would like to check out Fefe's awesome channel, I'll link it down in the description below. Fefe, why don't you walk us through this tweet? Why don't you walk us through your sort of macro perspective onto why you think the bull market is over?
Yeah, so if you look at the actual tweet in here, I've been saying that my catalyst for exit. I've been here since 2016, right? So I went through 2017, 2021, and so I got ragged both of those times for different reasons. And I told myself that the biggest reason I got ragged is because I did not focus on the chart. The chart always tells us the story before we can actually hear the news, before actually anything happens. And so it's very similar situation with this whole Japan rate hike and whatever that the market nukes overnight, and people try to find the reason. And I posted this, and it's not the market, it's you. It's the same thing that you can see this in the chart. You can see whenever something happens, and then the news comes out. Anyway, so what I said here is that the catalyst for me to call for the end of the bull market, meaning a 70% correction, whether that's lasting 3 months, 5 months, 6 months,
From the top.
is yeah, exactly. That
Okay.
is because on most of the coins, not on Bitcoin, but because we have a daily close below. And I could show you the total market cap as well, but I think it's just much easier for people to comprehend the Bitcoin chart. And I want to show you a very simple pattern. It's called AMD, by the way. AMD: accumulation, manipulation, and then distribution. Usually what happens is that there is choppiness happening. This is the daily chart on Bitcoin, September 25th, right? There is some kind of choppiness happening, and this has been going on for quite some time. So for 42 days, there was choppiness happening. And from this choppiness, Bitcoin created a new high. So you see here, there is a close above here. Bitcoin created a new all-time high. But instead of continuing what you would expect, it simply reversed and immediately closed. Immediately meaning, if you look at the chart, it wasn't on the next day, but if you look at the chart, this is basically a reverse V shape and an immediate close below the previous low that created the new high. And this was a very clear indication for me that the market is over. I waited for a retrace, and I basically got out at around $110,000. I sold most of my I didn't sell a lot of Bitcoin, but I sold everything else, all my risky plays, whatever. Bitcoin is down 30% since then, and you can look at Solana, you can look at ETH, you can look at all these tokens down 50-60%. But one thing that is very important: how did I know and why do I think and whatever? This pattern on the daily chart on Bitcoin and the total happened only once in history, or twice actually, in 2017 top and the 2021 top. So if you look at the very same pattern played out both times, both on the top in April, May, and in the top in November in the 2021 bull market. So you see the very similar situation. You have accumulation here, you have a new high, an immediate reversal, a little bit of retrace, and from here, Bitcoin nuked down 50%. Same situation here. You have choppiness for about 30 days, a new high marked, an immediate reversal, and the Bitcoin went down 70% since then. So now I've been saying for a long time that I do think Bitcoin is decoupling. I don't think Bitcoin is going down 70%, hopefully ever again, unless we have some big extreme economic crisis. Bitcoin is most likely decoupling. I see the bottom at around 70, maybe 75,000 on Bitcoin. But I do think that majority of the tokens, including the total market cap, is going to have a major, I said 50 to 70% correction, so 40 to 60% correction. So if you look here, we're down about 35%. I actually posted this back in July, and I said we will see a top in November or December, about 40 to 60% in total market cap. And that is almost where we are now. We had the top in October, so it was a little bit earlier, but the total market cap had a 36% correction. Since then, I do think we have a little bit more downside to about 40, 50%, and that's probably going to be the bottom. I'm very bullish for 2026.
Wow. Okay. Well, thank you so much, bro. I have a few questions on that. So you said that the price of Bitcoin is now decoupling. I mean, if you look at the Bitcoin for your halving cycles, then from the bottom of Bitcoin to the top of Bitcoin in each cycle, it's always been 1,064 days for the past three cycles, essentially. So you're playing the 4-year cycles amazingly in terms of timing. Okay, maybe euphoric tops, that's a little bit different, but the timing of the top has been perfect. And we know that there is diminishing returns, so Bitcoin goes up less in every single cycle. But one thing that remains constant is the amount of depreciation. So we always see about a 70 to an 80% drop. So you mentioned that there is a decoupling now. I would love to know why you think that's the case and why you think specifically 75K will be the bottom.
So I don't believe in 4-year cycles anymore.
Oh, wow. All right.
And the reason why I don't believe is because I was just showing here Solana down
Mm-hmm.
52% since September. So comparatively to Bitcoin,
Yeah.
I mean 50% is essential. And then this was the debate. Also going back to Ren, like you can argue that this is just a correction, but a 50-60% loss in my capital in 2 months
It's
is not a
horrible.
correction. You
it's,
know, it's
it's a
a
bear
bear
market.
market can, by definition, a bear market is minus 20% any given asset. So like obviously it's crypto. Obviously we see big swings, but I mean this is not a correction. Let's be very clear, and it is going to last
Oh, yeah, I
maybe
agree.
lower. So the reason why I don't believe in 4-year cycles is because there was no acceptance to the level where we see now with Bitcoin. We can look at treasury companies. We can look at general sentiment. We can look at ETFs. We can look at governments. There are so many parties involved that if Bitcoin would go down 70% from here, I think that would lose Bitcoin would lose insane amount of trust in the general public. We can talk about Trump. We can talk about governments. We can talk about even Saylor. You know, if
Yeah.
Bitcoin would go down 70, 80%, he would have a serious problem. So I just don't think that is going to happen this time. But that does not mean that crypto itself cannot go down. So I do believe that majority happened. I do believe that Bitcoin will act much more as an S&P or a Nasdaq or like or an Nvidia. So it will much more as a tech stock kind of environment for Bitcoin. And I do think that altcoins are going to be like penny stocks. They will have different. RWA is going to run a little bit because there is that news, and then AI is going to run, and then meme coins are going to run, and then they will have these little narratives. But I don't believe in alt season. I don't believe everything goes up like 2017, 2021. There is no ripple down effect. I don't think that Bitcoin, money that goes into Bitcoin or coins that held in an ETF will ripple down into these degen plays. I think it's going to be the casino where people go and play and then deploy. I do think there will be some euphoria at some point, especially I believe 2026, as opposed to Ben Cowan, who I really respect. I was very much aligned with him on a lot of things till 2026, where he says we're going into a bear market. I don't think that is happening. I think that from Q2 on, I think we're going to see a massive rally in crypto and in the markets in general.
So do you think that's going to happen because quantitative easing is going to get introduced, or or is it a technical thing that you're looking at? Why do you think 2026 is going to be bullish?
Lots of catalysts. Again, I think I also want to say this is a point where no one knows. Not
Correct.
Ben Cowan knows, not Michael Saylor knows. Like we're talking about, and we position our chips
Yeah.
based on our understanding. My positioning is that there is a lot of things happening. One, the clarity so we're gonna have a clarity in the legislative framework
Yeah. The Clarity Act.
in the U.S. The
Hmm.
Clarity Act. We're going to have midterm elections coming in November. Trump's biggest thing is ego. He is going to pump the market. There's zero questions. He has to, because there is no other way for them to stay in office. There's
Correct.
going to be quantitative tightening ended on the 1st of December. That means people mistake this with money printing. That's quantitative neutrality that is going to happen for a couple of months now, or maybe a couple of 8 months, 10 months, 12 months. We don't know. And then quantitative easing every single time in history resulted in a massive rally in risk assets. So that's another one. And also I do believe that we didn't really see a bull market up till now. Yes, Bitcoin outperformed because of ETS, because of Trump. But if you really look at Bitcoin performance the past year is net negative. So if you look at the yearly chart and you look at where Bitcoin was last year December and where it is now, we're down 5 to 10%. So that's not a performance. That's a narrative driven, hype driven, president driven market move that didn't reflect in the overall market. So I do believe that liquidity injection. There's $7 trillion sitting on the sideline. Don't forget that JP Jerome Powell, the Fed chair, is going to be out in May. It's guaranteed. It's guaranteed that there will be a dovish Fed chair put in place. race, he'll cut rates by 50% because Trump will make everything happen so that happens. $7 trillion sitting on the sideline waiting to be deployed. They're yielding 4% now in a year. They don't need to move. But when it goes down to 1.5, they will need to look for different avenues, and everything aligning mixed with the treasury companies, the accumulation for governments. I do think that we're looking forward for a very, very bullish Q2 to Q4 2026.
Amazing. Well, Fefe, thank you so much for that. And before I let you go, I would love to know what you think is going to happen in the more short term for Bitcoin. Obviously, the low was created at $80,500. We're currently drifting around 86,000. Do you think Bitcoin will revisit those lows, maybe form something like a double bottom, or will we go up now? What is your prediction for the very short term?
I don't know when this is going out, but when we
It's
started
going to
the
go out
interview,
today.
you said
It's going to go out today.
oh yeah, okay. So I literally today I dropped the video, said the crypto bottom is in. That's literally
Yes.
what the title of my video was. And it's always misleading because, and you probably know this as well. A
Yeah.
lot of people read the title, they
And they're like,
deploy all their
okay, let's
capital.
open long positions now.
Yeah, exactly. I read the title, I know what's up. So unfortunately, let me start with the good news, because
Okay.
we started off with the bad news with the bear market. The good news is, if I look at this and I pull the daily chart and I draw the demand zone down here, which is basically the order block that resulted in this massive push on Bitcoin, I mean, we're down there. So ultimately, it would mean that we are already at the reversal area, which I think is the reversal area. So I would imagine that we have to see a reversal between 73,000 and about 85,000. So somewhere here. Now, on a lower time frame, we do have a higher high. I have a very simple strategy. I basically look for market structure shifts. So I look for a reversal in the chart. So when we have a market pattern coming down like this, I'm looking for a reversal. Instead of looking for a lower low, I'm looking for a higher high. And then I confirm that there is a reversal. There's much more to it, but that's the basis. And if I look at the hourly chart here, we do have a market structure shift both on Bitcoin and the total market cap. So that would indicate that we have a rally. Now, the bad news is that if I look at this chart, anybody longs here, I don't know what you're doing, unless you're an investor for long term. Like, it's a perfect buying opportunity. I buy Bitcoin every day. I accumulate as an investor. As a trader, long in this chart is ludicrous because it's literally just down only. So you need some kind of reversal signal, and that would only happen at 107,000, which you might be thinking is too late, but it's not, because it's a very, very great example of what actually just happened now. You said that you're also in a community. I literally just posted that I think the 4-hour will reject. Why? It's super simple. You look at this chart and you say, this was the level that resulted in a breakdown. When we retrace to this level and we show a reversal signal, which is a 15-minute lower low, which you clearly see here, you short. It's simple. Like, I'm not an emotional trader. If I see a reversal, I'm shorting. And so also remember that every single pump coming in the next 30 to 90 days is here to trap you. Every single pump. So I do believe that we can have a relief rally here. I was explaining that I'm scared too long. Like, it doesn't make any sense risk reward wise, even if this thing goes to 95,000, which I think it will. There's a great potential that Bitcoin will start rallying now, pull a 10% move. But the risk reward is just simply not there. There's so much uncertainty, and it doesn't make any sense. I will rather take the short from 95 to 100,000 than try to catch the bottom and then long from here. Also, one more important, and then I'll finish off with this, is that I do believe we have to have a major market crash on the market, like in the general S&P and Nasdaq. I think we need to have at least a 10-15% dump on there for them to, again, position the $7 trillion going into Q2 2026 and the rate cuts. So I do think there has to be a market crash. So it makes sense to make the crypto markets go up a little bit to 100,000-ish Bitcoin. Everybody believes that, it's happening. And then from there, have another 30% correction down to 775. I think that would be the playbook. And then we just have to follow day by day and see how it goes.
And I agree with that. I think that we're going to definitely see a move into the 200 daily moving average. I mean, we've done it every single cycle. And then from there, I'm also expecting a significant rejection. Fefe, brother, it's been a pleasure having you on the channel. Thank you so much. Guys, if you want to check out Fefe's awesome analysis, then you can go to Fefe's channel, 100x Club, where he posts his TA. And thank you so much, bro, for coming on. It's been a pleasure.
Bro, I love what you do. I you know that I really like you. We see each other all the time on conferences and whatnot. Truly appreciate you bringing me on. I love what you do with your community. So much love to you and your fans and everything. And I hope to see you soon. At least not this December, but next year definitely.
100%, bro. Take care, guys. Thanks so much for watching. Destroy the like button, subscribe. And if you want to trade, we do have links down in the description for Weeks, Pinex, and CoinFlow where you can get awesome bonuses. Guys, thank you so much. Take care. And as always, bye-bye.